of this range that it has definitely been trying to break out of for quite some time. It's another biotech, man. These biotechs are fucking crushing it. So, let me look at the weekly and see what we got going on here. So, I mean, on this weekly time frame, you can see that. Let me actually move this up a little bit here. You know, on this weekly time frame, we've came from this bottom resistance here, and I almost want to just do this with it. I'm going to do something like this. So, I'm coming a little late to the party here, but I don't think that I'm that late. So, you guys can do it however you guys want to. The price is really moving slow right now, considering that it has broken potentially this pattern here. So, we have to be a little cautious, but um, it looks like it's flagging out right here, in my opinion. If you draw these trend lines here based off of these wicks, and maybe, I don't know if I want to do it like that, probably something like that, and then we do have this weekly MACD cross about to happen, which could actually push us forward higher. The scarier part is that we did come up here. We got rejected once. We didn't fall too hard. We're coming back up to try again. This right here scenario could potentially turn into some type of double top. Maybe, but I'm not seeing that happen personally. So this is kind of like a play at your own risk type of deal. I think that we are going to get this golden cross here, whether it's this week or the next week, but I think we're a little early maybe. The only reason I'm thinking late to the party as far as that is because it already did break this resistance, but it didn't have the same effect of a blast off as DTIL and KLDO did. So maybe we are actually just consolidating on top of this, and people are trying to decipher whether or not this is actually going to be a real breakout or not. I mean, it's getting to that point in the pattern that it needs to break out. Could it come back down here for one last test? Of course it could, but I don't think it's going to, because we have a little bit further to go up on this RSI here. We can still come up in here, so it's not like we're in any type of overbought scenario or anything like that. We're still in the strength aspect, we're still pretty low. Whoops. Shit, sorry for squiggling all over the goddamn place. I thought I had my trend line marker here. So if we run this, maybe, I mean, I'd like to go from here. I mean, I'm guessing I'm going to have to go something like that. And I guess we could do something like this to show the RSI here. So, I guess that there's potential of it falling, but we have to look at some smaller time frames to see. I mean, this every week, this is going to move up a little bit. So even if it's not this week that we get that break, it could still come back down in these ranges. This candle is kind of showing that 1821 was a bottom. It came to 1826 today. I did make a purchase there. Obviously we're going to get squeezed somewhere in between this 710 and this 891 area. A break of this is going to really show us something sweet. I don't think it's going to come down to 7, but we have to look at the new indicator that I've been running, which is the Ichimoku cloud here. Let me see if I'm pronouncing that right. Ichimoku cloud. So as of right now, the support and resistance we have is right on this pattern here, which is the breakout at 779. We have the Ichimoku cloud here at 789. We have our pattern we're in now, 1814, as the next potential downside. And at the top of this pattern, 874, with this 200 EMA at 893. So our next breakout of this potential pennant that we are in, if we break to the upside, which I believe that we will, it might be next week. We'll have to see. If it's this week, it's higher, but we'll go off of next week. We would be coming up to almost $11. Well, actually, 10.60. Um, let me see if there's any other type of signals. So every time that the purple crosses down on the white, and the white is coming upwards, which in this scenario it is, right here, we get that pump, which I guess we kind of just got that cross, got this pump here. It kind of got rejected a little bit, but it's still in this pattern. So we're right at this red resistance box here, 853. That's kind of where the price is now. So you have to see if it's going to get rejected, if it's going to find support on there. So buying in this range here is a little bit more risky potentially. You would have to definitely put a stop loss somewhere down in the 770 area, would really 768 maybe, if you were going to try to play this. Or you can wait for a confirmed breakout here of this 906 area and then make a play there, and then you could have your stop loss below somewhere in this 860 area. That might be a smarter move, but let me look and see how this 4-hourly is looking. So if I get rid of this cloud, turn on the TD sequential, and see what we got going here. So, I mean, obviously we are in this pattern here, and if you look at the RSI, it almost looks like potentially a head and shoulders pattern overall here. So this right here could be a head and shoulders pattern. And then if you look at the smaller section here, this could be a cup and handle, but seeing we're rolling over on this MACD is confirming a little bit more of this potential head and shoulders. But, even with those small moves, it seems like we are getting supported here by this trend line here, which is 808 roughly. So even if we did get a little bit of a downside here, I guess we could get support there on that 808 area. Looking at the chart, I don't see a head and shoulders potential. So let me see if I'm looking at this wrong. I'm not. We don't have any bearish diversions, but yeah, I mean, I think we're going to come down. We're getting these spinning tops signaling some downside here. So it could come down to this $8 level. And then you would just buy somewhere in this area if you wanted to make a play on this, and then you could put your stop loss somewhere below it, 790, something like that would be that wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, I think I'll pick some up at $8 tomorrow, and I'm just going to bring my stop loss down. Let me see if this makes sense on the daily here. 805 is the bottom, 784 is the pattern. So you'd have to put a stop loss at 776 unless you wanted to play this pattern here. You could buy it at 807, put a stop loss at like $8, depending on your risk to reward. If it fell, it would most likely just get support here anyway, I would think. But do we have any bearish divergence on the 4-hour? No, we do not. So, obviously there's a lot of bullishness going on in here, but at the same time, like I said, it's just a little bit scary that we didn't get the momentum out of here. We've had some positive things come through, like this right here was the shorter term crossing on the daily over all the longer term moving averages. Like, that's huge. That should have really shot the thing up. Let me see this volume. We got a lot of volume here, and it looked like We haven't had much volume since. But we had that correction right after the potential of that breakout. And then this 20 EMA here is starting to roll a little bit. So do we have some little bit of downside coming before this break? I guess it's possible. Let me look at the hourly and see what we got going on here. So it's not quite a flat bottom, which is good. And this is our resistance here. So based off of the hourly, I mean, that's a nice size pennant though. That looks like that should give us like a potential move out of here. And on the hourly here, it does look like the MACD is starting to roll up here after a large drop. So, I'm trying to look at both sides of this coin here. Like I said, I'm in this play. I do expect, if we do come up here, we just keep on going into this before we decide to break which way. That's what we're going to have to keep an eye on. So if you wanted to play it, you could definitely enter somewhere in this 860 area, 864. And if we were going to short it any which way, which I probably wouldn't short this thing, but if you were looking for a smaller side, I mean, if it broke down below this 830 tomorrow, then you would expect it to potentially come down to this $8 range. But the breakout of this right here is, just so we can get a visual, this should bring us past some resistance. Would be 912. So if we can get back in that 912 area, that would be actually really good. Seeing that on these smaller time frames, we are still getting resistance on this pattern. So it's kind of weird that, it's showing that we're getting resistance and we're still under this pattern on the hourly, but on the daily and the weekly, we're outside of it. So it makes me wonder if these trend lines are not. I mean, I don't like to change my trend line in that case. I guess we could. Give me that thing. Shit. There we go. I mean, you could say potentially that I can't see myself doing that. I gotta at least go off of this here. There we go. That looks a little better because we got that wick there, got that wick there. So it's coming straight across. That hits that wick perfectly. So where are we on this? Okay. That makes a lot more sense to me. So seeing this here actually brings some clarity to everything. So we actually are below this pattern right now, and we just keep wicking up and getting rejected. So that makes more sense to me why we haven't got any type of powerful moves out of this thing yet. So people are trying to decide, is this thing going to break out or not? And most people aren't going to enter until it gets up and above potentially this point here, I would say. I mean, they might even wait for like something like that to get pure confirmation. And we don't have, let me see how this volume looks. We have some good volume here. So, obviously these couple spinning tops here is a little sketchy, and like the few things I brought up, but in the longer term sense, even if this takes a week or two, we could be just getting here pretty early. This MACD, this golden cross here isn't going to be any joke right there. So, I think personally, I would start buying some of these dips here, and that's what I'm going to start doing. So, take it as you'd like, but this is probably going to end up being the trend that we end up following here. And if we were to wait till tomorrow to see, we are looking at around 832 to 826. Today it hit 826, and let's see where we were at. Well, we hit 819. All right, we hit 819. That was right here, 822, 819. So tomorrow I would look for something around the 830, and I'd start buying this shit personally. And then you just have to set your stop losses. That's all. So, maybe an $8 stop loss, maybe $7.94 stop loss, something like that, and take the chance because this thing looks like it's going to be doing something very soon. It's right there. It's right there. And this is the perfect time for a breakout. So I don't know if I did this or not. I can't remember. This is all on the fly, guys. So, I know it seems a little wacky sometimes, but it's not edited or nothing. I'm just kind of going with the flow. But that's a big breakout right there. Oh, actually, it makes pretty good sense. I mean, we had this wick out here at 2005. So this is calling for a breakout to 1933. Obviously, like I've said in many videos, we don't have to go all the way to 1933. We can come up to a certain point and go sideways. We can come up. I mean, this is where I would expect to get rejected on this weekly RSI. So just keep an eye on this thing. I think this is going to be another biotech that has a long way to go. DTIL was, I think I'm up about 15% on that. I added a lot more to my position throughout the day. I didn't get it as cheap as I wanted. But look at this monthly. This monthly W right here. This is sick. Boom, boom. That's going to be a big play. And this monthly, oh, look at that. Monthly EMA resistance, too. So we have it's 850. That's where we're at right now. We're testing that. So if we can get above that, which we have today, but if we can get above that and hold that as support, whoo! I mean, that's going to be some big stuff. So keep this on your watch list. I mean, maybe throw something at it if you'd like. This isn't financial advice, but I'm getting in on it, and I'm going to take the chance. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Then if I'm wrong, then it's going to come a little bit lower, and maybe this isn't the fucking time for it to break out, and then we'd be picking some shit up somewhere around this area instead. If it did have some massive correction that it's not really seeming like it's calling for, we'd be getting them around 720, and then it's going to come back up and try again. So, and then I'll fucking put a lot on if I can get it around there. So I don't think we will. We've been creating higher highs higher lows each time we've come down, and I think we're going to continue to do that until we get this breakout, and we're going to have a pump out of here, just like fucking KLDO, just like DTIL, or whatever the hell the abbreviation is. So I just want to get this thing out here because I didn't mean for DTIL to pump just like that fast within a day. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to send out these things that are just going to pump as soon as I post them. And not just a coincidence, or it's not a coincidence actually. It just has to do with big money buyers like to buy shit right here, and that just shows you how these patterns work. When something's been in here, you don't usually, you might get some big money buying here. You're not going to get any big money buying here. You're not going to get any big money buying here. But when it breaks this thing and confirms that it breaks it, big motherfucking money comes in right there. And that's what shows the power of how these things move out of these patterns. And that's the shit that we want to catch before it happens so we can be there and ready. So this is one that you want to be ready because I bet the big money's watching this thing right now and they're saying when this motherfucker gets above maybe $9, when it gets above $9 and it holds, they're going to fucking come in and grab this thing and it's going to go, you know what I mean? Sorry for the sound effects. But all right, that's it. All right.